Okay, welcome everyone to today's webinar. And the webinar is Develop the Authentic Power in Your Voice. Why authentic power? Because a lot of times that some of my clients, they came to me, they said, oh, I want to sound like Gary Vee. So when there are more people talking about Gary Vee, I was thinking, who is this person? Let me check him out. So I checked him out and I realized that he has achieved a lot professionally for his businesses. And then I listened to him speaking. I said, oh my God, if everyone wants to have a voice that is like Gary Vee, something's wrong with our society. I don't have any personal preferences or dislikes towards Gary Vee, but from the objective point of view, analyzing his voice is not a good voice. His voice is not a good voice. So if you are a fan of Gary Vee, then it's probably his achievement. And because he has achieved so much, so whenever he speaks, people want to listen to him. People want to hear what he has to say. In terms of the voice, his voice is very thin. I'm going to demonstrate you what thin voice is. His voice is very thin and even a bit nasal. It doesn't sound very masculine. So we do have, in our society, we do have a view on what masculine voice is, what feminine voice is. In general, that a masculine voice, the pitch is lower than women's. So for his voice, it's very thin, a bit nasal, and the pitch is a bit high. So that kind of voice is kind of like this. So if you are hearing me speaking in this kind of voice, and if you don't know me, if you don't know what the heck I have achieved, so what kind of impression would you have on me? Type them into the chat. Feel free to type into them in the chat. If you're a fan of Gary Vee, and I just said something not so good about him and you hate me, type them into the chat. So I type them into the chat, what kind of impression you get from that voice. Okay, so I would love to hear from you. Okay, feel free to type into the chat and let me know what is your view on that voice. And of course, what impression someone speaks with that kind of voice have on you. Okay, so while I'm waiting for the chat, so let's see. Okay, so a little uptight. Alan said a little uptight. Yes, not that great of an impression, if I were to be honest. Yes, I want you to be honest. So be honest. And also that is only a voice that I was demonstrating. So that's not my normal voice. And of course, the question is, some of my participants in the workshops, they will be saying, wow, Cynthia, do you often switch on and off? There is no switch, no switch. So once you have developed the voice will be with you for the rest of your life. You will never need to think about, oh, when do I use this voice? When do I use that voice? And you don't want to use that voice. Even if you can speak in that voice, you don't want to be in that voice for long because that voice is very tense and that voice is not reflecting the alignment, the connection in you. So now that you hear the differences, that voice is tight, is thin, is coming from the head. So that is the voice that most people are speaking with. And when you have this voice, you heard that the voice quality is very thin. It looks like it's one-dimensional. And I started to feel the tension in my body. So if you want to have the authentic, powerful voice, it is a voice that you need to be aligned. You need to be connected. And if you are not, then you will end up with the voice that I demonstrated. So The first thing before you learn today on developing your authentic, powerful voice is that voice is vibration. So that will be the first thing you want to write down. Voice is vibration. So a lot of us, as we get older, we think that we have a good memory. Now, I have a very good memory, and many people also commented. But guess what? If I don't write it down, after a while, I will forget. So as we get older, unfortunately, if we don't develop our memory muscles, we tend to forget. So write it down. Voice is vibration. If it's vibration, it is something physical you can feel. So I'd like to invite you, and of course, if you can, turn on your camera so that I know I'm talking to a real person. Turn on your camera. And also, we're going to do some exercises later. So thank you, Hazik. Very good. You're the one from the frontier, right? Yes. Oh, yeah. I like your background. So your background reminded me. Thank you for being here. And also the rest, feel free to turn on your camera. So we're talking about voice is vibration, right? Voice is vibration. It is physical. So now I'd like to have you place your two fingers slightly on your nose. Just place them there and without pinching. So you're just going to say, hmm. Okay. So when you're saying, what did you feel? Type them into the chat. Okay. So if you have ever been in any of my sessions, you will know that my session is never just me talking and you listening. How boring is that? So the sessions will always be interactive. So it also forces you to interact with me if you are an introvert. So yes, you'll feel a little air coming out. Okay, air coming out. And also, did you feel vibration on your nose? Okay. So also to help you make it easy, whenever it's a yes or no question, yes is 1, no is 0. So to help you save your time as well. Okay, thank you, Alan. It's vibrating nose. Yes. So now we are going to pinch our nose. You pinch your nose and then you try to pronounce the sound again as we do. So now you realize the no sound and the sound is blocked, or the sound is not coming out, or you don't have sound. So because number 1, voice is vibration, you have just felt it when you are having the fingers placed on your nose. Now, when you block it, you realize there's either no vibration or the vibration has changed. So that is to tell you that how much tension is affecting your sound. How much tension is affecting your sound. So that's why when you are having a voice coming from here, this voice is very tense. And this voice is also showing how much tension you have in your body. So you have a lot of tension in your body. That's why your voice is not optimum. The problem is because we don't know. We are having our lives day in and day out. We don't even know that we're having tension. But your voice will demonstrate that. Whenever you have even more tension, your voice will be changed right away. So that's why when you watch the financial news, you will feel so depressed, not just because of the economic downturn right now. So it is depressing to look at the financial news, but also because all these anchors in the financial news, their voice is so make you so feeling uncomfortable because their voice is coming from here. You see everyone in the financial news as a talking head, a talking head. So a talking head meaning that the voice is coming from here. So the talking head, the voice is very tense. So what we don't want to develop that kind of voice. We want to develop a voice that's relaxed. So the first thing we ask you to write down is voice is vibration. And the second one is the best voice comes from the most relaxed body. The best voice comes from the most relaxed body. So the other voice, a lot of my clients, they want to have is a voice like Morgan Freeman's. Thank you, Vikas, for turning your camera on. Morgan Freeman's voice. If you want to have Morgan Freeman's voice, then you have the good choice. And also that is good news for our society. So Morgan Freeman's voice is very full. So we'll explain what full voice is full and relaxed. So when you listen to his voice, you just feel very relaxed because his voice is the best voice, which is coming from a very relaxed body. And he is projecting his voice properly. So the best voice comes from the most relaxed body. That's why when you go back, whenever you're speaking, you want to first check whether you're relaxed. Because if you don't, you realize when you're nervous, your voice starts to tremble, or your pitch goes high, or you speak fast, or worse, that your throat is just tight. You couldn't project any sound. So that's why if you want to have a good voice, you want to relax. So that's the talking head. It shows a lot of tension in your body. And the voice you really want to develop, the authentic voice you want to develop is a full voice, F-U-L-L. The full voice is a voice that comes from the body. And a voice that is also going to help you realign yourself physically. Because when you are a talking head, you are literally physically disconnected within yourself. If you are disconnected within yourself, you're not going to connect with the audience. You're not going to connect with whoever you are speaking with, even if it's just one person. Because when you are disconnected with yourself, of course that when you're speaking, you're not going to be present. And we have seen that happening nowadays so often. When we are speaking with anyone, we realize they are preoccupied, even though they are physically here with you, but you see that their mind is somewhere else. But the great leaders, the great masters, when they speak to you, you feel that they are so present. So if you want to have a powerful voice and influence people, you must develop the presence. And the presence comes from you connecting with yourself. When you are connected with yourself physically, then you'll be able to be present and connect with other people better. So the full voice can help you with that, because the full voice reconnects with you. So instead of you're only using part of your body, the rest is cut off, you're going to reconnect with yourself, realign yourself, so that when you are speaking, you will be present, you will be influential, people are drawn to you. So that's what we say, the authentic power. That is the power that you are drawing people in instead of using some techniques to pull people in. That is not in my philosophy, in my teaching, that is not what we want to teach, what we want to have. So what we want to have is the drawing people in. Would you like to draw people in instead of pull people in? So if you want that, type 1, so that I know you're in the right place. Okay, thank you, Alan. Thank you, Vikas. Gel. Okay, Hazik. Thank you, everyone. So now you are in the right place. Now I can see Clara, you can hear me. Okay, very good. So thank you, Annie. And so that's what we want to develop. How do you develop? It is to develop your full voice. So the full voice will be with you for the rest of your life. So today, we don't have 6 months. So usually for my clients, they develop a 3 or 6 months, 3 to 6 months. And so today, within our 1 hour time frame, so I will teach you some of these very important techniques that will help you make a very big difference when you're speaking. So those are the techniques you can apply right away, even if you're not breathing properly, even if you're not so-called speak from the diaphragm yet. So of course, once you can breathe properly, once you can speak with the support of diaphragm, you will be making even bigger difference in your voice. But today you are going to pick up some techniques. So hopefully we can cover 3 techniques. And with these 3 techniques, you can make changes in your voice right away. So we know, you probably have heard people say, in order to have a powerful voice, you have to breathe properly. You have to learn how to breathe. But the problem is, most people only know, oh, I need to breathe. I need to breathe properly, use my diaphragm. But they're disconnected. So the breath is the breath, speaking is speaking. So last week, there's a client, he said, oh, I can breathe properly. So he showed me how to breathe properly. And his breath was correct. But the problem is, breath is breath. He was not using the breath for voice at all. So that's why his voice, unfortunately, as a guy, his voice sounds feminine. So you don't want to have that. It is also the reason that some of my clients who are yoga teachers, they can breathe properly, but the breath again is disconnected with the voice projection. Same for some singers. They can sing very well with a good singing voice, but when they are speaking, their voice comes back to this part, the talking head. So that's why there is difference between singing and speaking voice. So you are going to learn the first technique, how you're going to use the breath. And if you can use that, that will make a big difference in your voice. So I'm going to demonstrate the difference that this one technique that will make. So let's start with introduction. So I'm going to do 3 simple sentences as an example. So the first one will be like my normal speaking. So yes, for me it's evening. For some of you it's morning or afternoon. So it'll be, good evening. My name is Cynthia. I'm a voice coach. So this is one. And then now the other one. Good evening. My name is Cynthia. I'm a voice coach. So this is 1 and 2. So which one sounds more relaxed, more confident? I can type 1 or 2. Okay, yes, 1. And what is wrong with the 2? Okay, so everyone can hear it's the 1. So you can also type in the chat, what's wrong with 2? Okay. So the second one, so I'm going to demonstrate one more time. You see what is the problem for the second one. So the second one is, good evening. My name is Cynthia. I'm a voice coach. Faster in tempo. Okay, yes. So tempo is fast. As a result, you heard no connection. Monotone. Yes. Monotonous. Very good. Sounds dead. Yes. So, yes. A day's work. Good evening. My name is Cynthia. I'm a voice coach. Too tired. Okay. Yes. So these are all the results that you heard. So what made the result was that I'm holding my breath and speak. When I'm speaking, I'm just going to hold my breath. I don't know why I hold my breath. Maybe because I'm tired. Maybe because I just don't want to talk to you. So then as a result, the impression you may get is that this person is very arrogant or aloof, just don't want to talk to you. Want to quickly finish the conversation with you so that you can get lost. So that was the impression that some of my clients got. So because some of my clients, they speak in that way, they said I sounded aloof. It sounded that I didn't want to talk to them. Why? That was the reason, is that when you are speaking, you are not using your breath. You are holding your breath. So you want to remember when you are speaking, this is something you want to think about. Probably you have never thought about it. So when you are speaking, do you breathe out or breathe in? So you can type in or out. Are you speaking? When you're speaking, do you breathe in or breathe out? Breathe out or breathe in. Type it into the chat and let me know. You can type in or out. If you have never thought about it, you can just type in, never thought about it. Okay, breathe out. Yes. Okay, very good. So a lot of you said it's breathe out. Okay, yes. So that's good. We have a wonderful class. In some of my past classes, there were people typing in. So when we're breathing in, I don't know how you speak. The only sound we can make when we're breathing in is, oh, and then we forget to breathe out. So when you're speaking, you need to breathe out. But the problem is that not people try to breathe in when they're speaking. The problem, I have realized, it happens to almost everyone. I was so surprised. It can happen to everyone. Because I'm a voice coach, so whenever people are speaking in conferences, unconsciously, I'm listening to their voices. And then I realized how many people are holding the breath when they're speaking. And also for all my clients, when I pointed out this problem, then they went back and observed, everyone reported that there were times they were holding their breath and speak. So it could be when you're nervous, the fight and flight response. When we're nervous, we go, we forget to breathe. And we forget to use the breath to support the voice. Or when you are stressed, you are holding the breath. Or for some of my clients, when they are talking to their boss, they realize they're holding the breath. So this is something you want to go back and observe. Observe that when you're holding your breath and speaking. So that's something you want to go back and be aware. If you realize you're holding your breath, then what you're going to do is you're going to make sure you're releasing the breath. You're finding the opportunity to release the breath. Some of my clients, they will say, oh, when I realize the problem, I take another breath in. You already have breath held in your body. If you try to take another breath in, it's not going to help you. That's the wrong suggestion you've got. So when you realize you're holding your breath, you're going to find an opportunity to release the breath. So you're going to see that how you're going to release the breath. But first, you want to remember that when you are speaking, you are supposed to breathe out. So the first technique you are going to learn is to speak on the exhalation. Speak on the exhalation. So when you are speaking, you are breathing out. Because we mentioned voice is vibration. When you breathe out, the out breath will make the vocal cords vibrate. So that's why when you're speaking, if you don't breathe out, how would the vocal cords vibrate? If you are holding your breath, the other problem you will have is you will realize you tend to have breathlessness. So some people say that, oh, I often feel breathless. That was one of the reasons. One of the reasons because you're holding your breath, and if you're always holding your breath and speak, you will also speak fast, speak monotonous. Then after a while, you will be taking a huge breath in. So that's the other problem that's accompanied. That is the holding the breath as accomplice, which is breathlessness, breathless. The other problems, of course, is speaking fast, monotone. So those are all the results that if you're holding your breath. So when you realize you hold your breath, what do? You find opportunity to release the breath. So I'm going to find some sentences and we're going to practice. So for example, okay, I have the sentence here. Did you find it difficult jumping into discussions? You can't seem to find the perfect time to jump in. So let's use this sentence as an example. I'm going to demonstrate holding the breath. So you're going to see holding the breath for the entire sentence. So you go like this. Did you find it difficult jumping into discussions? You can't seem to find the perfect time to jump in. Okay, so that's holding the breath. So now I'm going to pretend I'm holding the breath, and then somewhere I'm going to realize my holding the breath problem, and then you'll see how I solve the problem. How did I release the breath? So again, take a breath in first and then hold it. Did you find it difficult jumping into discussions? You can seem to find the perfect time to jump in. So this time is different, right? So did you observe that how did I solve that problem? You can type in the chat and let me know how did I solve that problem. If you didn't see it, you can let me know as well. Then I can demonstrate one more time. So for those of you who are shy, who are introverted, remember, if you didn't hear it, you can just ask. So I realized in some of my clients, whenever they didn't hear it, they say, oh, maybe it's my problem. Then I will just not participate. Very good. Thank you, Yukash. That's right. So this is also something you're going to do in your meetings. The next time, if you didn't hear, you can just ask. Okay, some of you already actually got the answer, but I'm going to demonstrate one more time for the benefit of some of you who didn't hear. So you'll be, did you find it difficult jumping into discussions? You can seem to find the perfect time to jump in. Okay, so this time, did you hear it? Okay, so Sydney said, Vinder said, you breathe during the pause. Alan said, louder in second sentence on certain words. Yes. And what is the word? Hazik got it. The word is seem. Very good. He is good. Hazik is very good. He got it correctly in the first time. Okay, so let's all give him a round of applause. For those of you who are not having the video, I suppose you are giving the applause. So that's right. So I released the air on the word seem. So I'm going to demonstrate one time. This time you observe carefully. See how I release the air on the word seem. So you'll be, did you find it difficult jumping into discussions? You can seem to find the perfect time to jump in. Seem. C syllable, I lose more air. So now let's have you try it. So you're going to first hold your breath, pretending you're holding the breath. And then pretending that on the word seem, you realize the problem. Then lose the breath on the word seem. And then finish the sentence. So let's have you try it. I'll give you 20 seconds to do the practice. And once you finish the practice, let me know that what is your observation in your practice so that I'll give you some feedback. Okay. Let's see. How is it? Type into the chat and let me know that how is the practice. And then also we'll find one person to practice and I'll give you some feedback. Okay, so if you want to practice, you can raise your hand and then I'll unmute you. So just give one opportunity because we have 2 other exercises as well. You will have other opportunities. Okay, who would like to try it? See, this is where that people invest in themselves in coaching to get my feedback. Now no one wants to try it. Okay, let's see that if anyone wants to try. So also remember that whenever we are practicing something new, you're not going to get it right away. So it is by different trials and errors, then you improve. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. If you're afraid of making mistakes, then maybe trying to be perfect is one of the issues you want to overcome. Okay, anyone wants to try? Okay, last call. If not, then I'll assume that you're all practicing it perfectly. Okay, no one wants to try. Perfect. Then we move on. So here you want to remember that you are losing the breath on certain words. And the question I always get is, oh, am I emphasizing the word? No, you're not emphasizing the word. It is to use more breath. As a result, it's heard as emphasis. And what we're really doing is to lose the breath on the word. And also you realize that when you suddenly lose all the air, you may not have air enough to finish the rest of the sentences. So that's why once you lose the air on the word seem, you have to automatically take a breath in. You must be taking the breath in automatically. If not, then that means you're not losing all the air on the word seem. So after the word seem, I was taking a breath in. So probably you didn't notice. So I'm going to demonstrate one time. Do you find it difficult jumping into discussions? You can seem to have the perfect time to jump in. So after seem, I took another breath in so that after the rest of the sentence, I can still express, for example, the word perfect, I was expressing as well. On the word perfect, I was using a lot of breath. So one more time. Do you find it difficult jumping into discussions? You can seem to find a perfect time to jump in. So actually on the word seem and perfect, both words, I was using more breath. But in order to use the breath on both words, you have to breathe in after the word seem. If you don't feel prompted to take a breath in automatically after the word seem, that means you didn't lose enough air on the word seem. So this time, let's give you some time to practice one more time. This time, you're going to use more breath on both words, both the word seem and perfect. And then let me know if you have any questions in this practice. Okay. So I'll pretend that you're practicing. And then let me know what question you have in your practice. Any questions? Yes. So Sirian has questions. So let me unmute yourself. Unmute you.
Hello, Cynthia. I have a question. So I think that the challenge is also finding like the right words to draw in the breath, right? So when you say that you're not, it's not an emphasis, actually that's a very refreshing insight. I always thought that I have to find that emphasis, so what you have done was, saying you seem to be having difficulty finding the perfect time, which I think gives a lot of nice intonation to the sentence. But so the question really is, how do we identify the right words for that breath?
Okay. Okay, very good. Yes. So how do you identify the right word? So you identify the right word by constantly thinking about which word do I want them to remember? Which word do you want the audience, do you want whoever is listening to you, even if it's one person, to remember? So I want them to remember, just now it was demonstrating more about releasing the breath. But if it's not releasing the breath, if I'm just speaking normal, let me see. So which word would I be emphasizing? So you'll be, did you find it difficult jumping into discussions? You can't seem to find the perfect time to jump in. So as I'm speaking, I'm finding the word. So I found the word, one is difficult, the other one is jumping, because these are the two problems they experience. They find it difficult jumping into discussions. And then the other one is they can't. They can't seem to find the perfect time. So can't and perfect are the two words. So you're constantly thinking about which word do I want them to remember?
Mhm.
So
Okay.
that will be your guiding principle.
Mm. Okay, so at the word of the stress, your suggestion is then, you got to breathe out and then quickly take in that breath again, right? So that I can be carried through to the end of the sentence.
That's right. And also the inhalation should be automatic. In order to have the inhalation automatic, you have to use enough breath on the keywords.
Okay.
So for example, one more time, you will see that I am using a lot of breath. Did you find it difficult jumping into discussions? So difficult, I'm using a lot of breath. After difficult, taking a breath in automatically, jump into discussions. You can't, after can't, I'm automatically taking a breath in. Seem to find the perfect time to jump in. So here, this time, I am taking the breath in automatically after the word time, because perfect time is a phrase. So this is your practice, which is that you can find anything work-related and practice it. Practice using so much air that you are prompted to take a breath in automatically. Make sure you're losing enough. If you're not taking the breath in automatically, that means you're not using enough. Okay, thank you, Xiu Ying. And then Yukash also have a question. It feels like I have a lot of words to say, but the breath is limited. The breath is not limited, the breath is always limited. You have to constantly take breath in. So that's your second technique, which is you have to constantly breathe in. Now, in order to constantly breathe in, you have to use it. If you don't use it and only breathe in, you're going to explode. So you have to use it. Okay, so feels mind and breath are not working congruently. You have to practice often. So that will come with practice. When you practice more, it will become more natural. But the key is always use the breath. If you don't use it, you see, this is the universe's law of balance. Law of balance. If you don't use the breath, how will the breath come in? So it's like the law of money, right? So the money, now we're talking about side topics. So the money mindset, money is that if you don't spend it, then no more money will come in. So in order to have more money comes in, you must spend it. It doesn't mean that you're going to spend as much as you can, right? So it's you have money, you spend some, and then you'll have some come in. So that's for the question. You have to use the breath. You breath in through the mouth or the nose. Okay. So when we are speaking, because the breath is coming out of the mouth, so actually it will be more natural to take the breath in through the mouth when you are speaking. But when you are not speaking, you can use the nose. And you see that just now I was taking the breath in through the mouth, but you don't know. It's very light. And if you observe, I'm taking the breath in very often. They are all through the mouth. Okay, very good. Thank you for all the questions. So keep your questions coming, because when you're having the questions, then I know how much you are receiving, how well you are receiving. And it also helps me to understand whether I need to explain this more. Okay, very good. So you actually learned two techniques already. One is speak on the exhalation. The other one is constantly use your breath enough. Use as much breath as you can on the keyword, so that you can inhale automatically afterwards. That's the second technique. Use as much breath as you can on the keyword, so that you can inhale automatically afterwards. Okay, so then we are going to learn another technique. So another technique together with a bonus. So you're actually going to learn 4 techniques. We are overperforming. So the third technique will be very helpful nowadays in the pandemic when we want to comfort people. So if you want to comfort people, now we said power is not only coming from a very strong voice, power also comes from a voice that can comfort. So if it's always power, 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 then people are going to feel tired, overwhelmed. If you're always motivating people, or if you're giving a so-called motivational, or rather I like inspirational speech instead of motivational, we need more inspiration instead of motivation. So if you are giving an inspirational speech, you cannot all use the high-pitched, strong voice, where we have seen that happening in not only my clients, but also speakers in different conferences. Is too much. I remember that there was a speaker, he was using that strong voice all the time. And after less than 5 minutes, I left the room because it's too much. It's physically uncomfortable. Voice is vibration. You are sending out vibrational frequency. It makes people feel uncomfortable. So that's why this is very important in your speech, in your talk, whoever you're talking with, you must use a voice that is at times that sends out comfort, that sends out caring as well, empathy. So that's the other thing we're going to talk about today as our final technique. But before we talk about that, I would like to talk about the programs we have. So recently I received quite a few inquiries about the programs I have. So I only run 2 types of programs, only 2 types. One is one-on-one coaching. The other one is group coaching. So those are the 2 ways. If you are sponsoring yourself, that you can join. So these are only the two only programs I run: group coaching or one-to-one coaching. For the other programs you saw that I run, like for example workshops, those are more for corporate. So for corporate, I do 2 days, some 1 day program. So those are the programs for the corporate. Unless you can get your corporate to do programs, 1 day or 2 days workshop. If not, then you will be joining either one-to-one or group coaching. So one-to-one, usually it is more customized. So it can have different time frame depending on your level. So if you want to join one-on-one or know more about one-on-one, you can always reply the emails you receive, the email from support at my website, powerfulexecutivevoice.com. So you can always reply that email. I will put it here. And from that email, you can say that, oh, I want to know more about one-to-one. If not, then for the group program, usually I run once a year. But this time, we are going to run the second one. So we just finished one for 2021. So this is the email you can write to inquire about either one-to-one or if you have questions about group coaching. So group coaching, this year I decided to run another one, which will start in 2 weeks in July. So we'll be running from July, August to September. It's 3 months. So for the group coaching program, I will put the link in the chat and then you can find out. So the group program is 3 months and you'll be running from, let me share the screen as well. So we're running from 17th of, let me see where it is, 17th of July to end of September. So this is this program. Okay, so this is the group program, and the group program, 90 days, is 3 months, from 14th of July to September 29th. So it'll be 3 months. And so you are welcome to join this program. In this program, we will be talking about, for example, how you breathe properly, and also how to make the proper breath a habit. That's 1. And then 2, how you're going to use the breath to project the voice, the so-called speak from the diaphragm. And the 3rd one is resonance. So that's what we're going to cover in the group program. all the 3 stages in voice development we're going to cover. But it's a much condensed version compared to one-on-one. One-on-one also goes more customized. So you will take a look at all these modules as well. Bonuses. There's a bonus ending today. The schedule. So every month we have 3 live group coaching calls plus 1 bonus Q&A calls. So that one is optional. And how much can you transform? Especially those 3 at the bottom, those are from the group students. You can take a look. So group students, they can still make a big difference in their voices. And of course, most people are more concerned about the investment. So this is the investment. Full investment is $2,500 US, or you can choose 3 installment plans. So this is the group program. And if you have any questions about the group program, feel free to send me an email as well. The email I just gave you. So again, in the group program, we're going to cover 3 things. 1 is make proper breathing a habit. 2 is that how you're going to use the proper breath to so-called speak from the diaphragm. Because that is the problem a lot of people have. They can breathe properly, but they cannot use the breath. That's the problem singers face. That's also the problem yoga teachers face. So in my clients who are singers or yoga teachers, they have the problem. They don't know how to use the proper breath to project their speaking voice. And then the third one, of course, most people want to learn is resonance. So that's what we're going to cover in the group program. And so the link is in the chat. If you want to join me in 2021, for the second half of the year. So I encourage you, if you have been thinking about it for long, do join me because next year we are thinking about changing the arrangement of the program. So that's the group coaching program and one-on-one coaching program. And of course, if you want to join workshops, bring the workshop to your company. So that's the program. Now we're going to go back to our 3rd technique to have you develop a voice that's caring, empathetic, friendly as well. Okay, or compassionate, compassionate as well. So we mentioned that if you are giving an inspirational talk, this talk doesn't mean it's a speech. It can be, for example, some of my clients, they are talking to their employees. They want to inspire their employees. Some they say motivate. So I said rather inspirational. So we want to inspire them instead of motivate them. So you must have the voice that conveys these emotions as well, because you cannot just go all the strong, loud voice all the time. It's going to overwhelm people. They will shut up and they will shut down. So what kind of voice and how we're going to use the voice to convey that? So I'm going to demonstrate with this sentence. The sentence is, I understand your situation, or I understand. Let's make it longer. So Vikas asked, are we going to get a recording? Yes. If you have signed up the session through the link, Zoom, you will get a recording. So the sentence is, I understand what you're going through. We're going to convey the emotion of caring, empathetic. So if you are saying, I understand what you're going through, if you are saying it in this way, how did it make you feel? Type into the chat, let me know. If you are speaking in that way, or if I spoke in that way, which I did, how did it make you feel? Type into the chat. Or if you want me to demonstrate one more time, to scare you one more time. Okay. Okay, Hazik, thank you. So you'll be thinking that if you did something wrong, yes. If your boss are saying it in that way. Okay, it's business-like, yes, very authoritative. So very authoritative, but it doesn't make you feel cared for, right? Some of you may want me to demonstrate one more time. So let's demonstrate one more time. If I say, I understand what you're going through. This sounds like there's a but coming, right? I understand what you're going through, but go back to work. So that's how you're making people feel. It doesn't convey the feeling of caring, empathetic. It doesn't make people feel, they will question that, oh, is it? Do you really understand what I'm going through? You don't sound like it. It sounds like there's a but coming. So instead, we're going to say, so I'm going to say it in the real caring way. Observe the difference in the voice. Take a breath in. I understand what you are going through. Does this one make you feel more empathetic? Type 1 as yes, 0 as no. Okay, very good. Okay, very comforting, yes. Did you notice what's the difference that I did with the voice? Instead of, I understand what you're going through, but go back to work. This time, yes, I understand what you're going through. What's the difference in the voice? Okay, so type in the chat, what did you notice? Okay, lower the tone, speak slowly. Okay, very good. So that's some difference you noticed? Yes. Okay, anyone else? Didn't notice what the voice difference is? Even if you didn't notice, it's okay. You can just type into the chat as didn't notice. Then I will know how I will teach you. Sentence came from your heart. Okay, very good. Thank you, Home. That's right. Calm. About to bark at you. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Annie and Hazik. Very good. We need more people like Hazik. Give me straightforward feedback. Okay, there's empathy. Sounds like open the space for a conversation. Yes, it doesn't sound like there's a but coming, right? Okay, so what I did differently, there are actually two things, but in terms of the voice, you heard was the pitch was lower. Pitch was lower. One is the pitch is lower. Two is, did you notice the word understand? How I was saying the word I understand. So instead of I understand, I said I understand. I understand. So that stand. So let me stand. So it's more like this. I understand. So on the syllable stand, the breath was long and slow. Breath is long and slow. When the breath is long and slow, it helps you convey the comforting, caring voice. So that's the difference in the voice. One is pitch is lower, overall pitch is lower. Two is the breath is going out slow and long. But you see, there is one very important thing that when you do this, your voice, it's not just the voice techniques, but also you must feel the caring, the empathy as well. If you're only working on the technique, there will be a disconnection and people will sense the disconnection. So if I only say, I understand what you're going through. Now it's different, right? It doesn't sound authentic anymore. So when we say the authentic, powerful voice, you must feel the care. You must feel the empathy. And then at the same time, there is this voice technique. If you're only using the voice technique, it's not going to be authentic and people will sense it. So those were the two things. So one is you must feel it. 2 is then you have the breath going out slowly on understand. And then also the overall pitch is lower. I understand what you're going through. Okay, so now let's have you try the sentence to convey the empathy, the care. Okay, so let's have you try it. And if you want to have me give you some feedback, you can raise your hand and practice it out loud. We can have 2 or 3 people. So since just now there was no one raising the hand to practice, this time we can give 2 or 3 opportunities. Okay, yes, very good. Seeing wants to try. Anyone else? Yes, Seeing, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Cynthia. So here it goes. I understand what you are going through.
Okay, very good. Yes. Perfect. Okay, very good. Yes. So that's where you're conveying the empathy, the care. Okay. Anyone else would like to try? Okay, how about Hazik? Want to try? So let me unmute you.
Okay, the sentence is still the same sentence, right? I understand what you're going through. Oh, that was not a demonstration. I'm just asking which is the sentence. Okay. I understand what you're going through.
Okay. So I can hear the technique, but the pitch will go lower.
Yes, correct, yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, very good. And then Hong wants to try, right? So let me unmute you.
Yes, so I understand what you're going through.
Okay. Okay. So again, yes, go ahead.
Okay, I will try one more time. I understand what you're going through.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So then you can mute yourself. Okay. For home, there were 2 words you were striking them, right? So one is understand and then through. So for this short sentence, I will recommend just 1 word, which is understand. So on understand, you can go longer and slower. I understand what you're going through. Through can be faster. And then 2, for both Hazik and home, you want to feel the care more. So it will require a little bit more practicing on the feeling as well. So how do we practice the feeling? You can imagine you're talking to someone who is feeling very depressed and you're trying to comfort them. So then that goes back to how do you feel what you say? So how do you feel what you say? If you have attended my presentations in the past, we mentioned that. If you haven't, then you can always go to download the 3-part free video series. The 3-part free video series, lesson number 3, video 3, is talking about how you feel what you say, developing the authentic feeling. And so the 3-part free video series, they are on my website. So just now you got my email. And so the email, after the ad is the website. So let me post it here. This is the website. Not this one. So it's powerfulexecutivevoice.com. So you can go here to on the home page, you will see the 3-part free video series. Video number 1 and 2 talking about how you use the breath. Number 3 talking about how to feel what you say. Okay, so today we talked about 3 or 4 techniques. So let's recap. The first one is when you're speaking, the problem is most people are holding the breath. So I would encourage you to take a look, observe when you're holding your breath. Whenever you're holding your breath, you're going to release the breath on the keywords, which is to speak on the exhalation. So that's 1, speak on the exhalation, which is to release the breath on the keywords. Number 2 is you want to release the breath so much that you're taking the breath in automatically. So that's the second one. You need to constantly breathe in. In order to constantly breathe in, you must constantly breathe out. And then the third one is, how do you convey care, empathy, friendliness, compassion? Is your breath needs to go out long and slow on the keywords. And also the bonus is the pitch also is lower. So when you are conveying these emotions, the pitch goes lower. So the pitch is not high. You will not be, I understand what you are going through. So pitch go high. And also one more thing is you must feel the care, feel the empathy. If not, you will sound inauthentic. There will be disconnection. So those are the few things we mentioned today. And of course, as always, I just want you to practice one thing. Because whenever you feel, oh, there are so many things I want to practice, you'll feel overwhelmed and then give up. So type into the chat which one technique that you've learned tonight you're going to practice. Type into the chat. Okay, so let's see. Breath. Okay, breath work. How about the others? Okay, the others are still deciding. Looks like they want to practice all. Okay, how to sound authentic? Yes. Okay, that's to feel what you say. If you haven't downloaded the 3-part, you can check it out. If you have downloaded it, then you can go back to the video 3 to practice feeling what you say. Very good. Thank you, Hazik. Is speaking on the escalation. Yes. Okay, how about the rest? Okay. Connection with ourselves. Yes. Then others. Relax and control the breathing. Yes. Okay, very good. And then Jiao said, develop empathy and compassion in speaking. Yes. Okay, thank you, everyone. Very good. And then if you, these are some of the things that we do in our programs. So if you want to dive deeper with me, then I welcome you to join the group coaching program. Or if you want to do one-on-one, you can always send me an email and then we'll discuss more. So again, this is the group coaching program, bit.ly/90 days voice masterclass. Okay, so that's all for today. But see, there was a client of mine. He was he had been following me before he started working with me. He had been following me for at least 7 years. So he told me when we finished working together, he said, oh, I have been following you for at least 7 years. I said, what took you so long? So he said, because he thought that, oh, I could still survive. Until one day he couldn't survive anymore. Because when he came to me, I didn't know that he had been following me for so long. When he came to me, he was depressed. He was living in very strong uncertainty. He was fearful that he was going to be fired. He was also fearful that his wife probably would leave him as well. Because whenever he spoke, he was not heard. And he was also worried that because he was not heard, his boss was not seeing him. And while we were working together, he started to get hurt. And there was one time that his boss took him to present to the CEO. He did so well that after that, his boss said, in the future, you will be the one who will be doing the presentation. So that made him become very happy. And from that incident onwards, his boss was relying on him for presentations. And I could also see him become happier and happier. He was also starting to share stories with his daughter. And his wife listens more as well. So when we finished working together, he said, Cynthia, what is the biggest change you saw in me? I said, the biggest change I saw in you was not only the voice, but also that you are happier. So when I shared this story to a good friend of mine, my friend said, Cynthia, you're changing someone's life. It was only that moment from my friend's observation that it dawned on me that by doing that, I was changing other people's lives. And that actually what kept me going. So I love changing people's lives. So if you have been following me for long and you finally get to the point that you want to work with me, so feel free to reach out. I am here for you. So with that, we are going to close today's session on 911. So for Singapore time is 911. So thank you everyone for staying on, and thank you for participating, for asking questions. So I'll see you in either one of the programs or see you on social media. Thank you everyone. Have a wonderful day or evening. Bye.